So like I've said, the marketing studies is just an assessment of the market potential for Earth observation products and services, and the report is out. So, and we keep updating this report, I think, every quarterly. So an updated one is on the website. The regional studies and synthesis, it's a summary document with comparisons and lessons learned. So just some of the bottlenecks that I pick up. I intentionally did not look at the opportunities because I think when it comes to opportunities, this symposium itself is an example of opportunities that exist when it comes to capacity development. And most of the presentations that were given here tell us exactly what's currently available for us and what's not. So we split the bottlenecks that we saw into three things: infrastructure, individual, or what we call human resources, and also institutional, because these are the three spheres of capacity building. The usual things come throughout for all the countries. So we did a survey out, we sent surveys out, and some of the people even in South Africa responded. The response was very, very poor, so the response wasn't good at all. But we were also lucky for South Africa because we did the institutional audit study, which the IEEE was responding to as well. So we were able to get some of the information through that study as well. So what became apparent was that within the region, we're facing the same issues. And so sometimes South Africa thinks that we're different. Yes, we've got more capacity than some of the regions, but the base problems are the same. High cost of data, this we hear all the time. The data is expensive. We don't have access to the data. The software is also expensive. There's no support, and this is the critical one because we've got open source. People say to you, you can't be complaining about software these days because we've got open source. Some of the open source need you to be able to do some level of coding for you to really use it. So that's not really a solution. So the human support element is still needed. There's a lot when it comes to individuals, but I think the two presentations before me looked at this one, especially the second last presentation, in terms of the training. At what point as an individual do you actually feel you're fully equipped to call yourself an Earth observation practitioner and you actually know what you're doing? And because it did not start as a course at universities, it started more at the practitioner level, we've got a big challenge because other people attended courses and you knew enough of just what you needed to do within your application fields. And in most of the time, it is enough. I think the recognition that there are different levels of knowledge that's needed for within an individual level. We do not all need to have degrees because your day-to-day need is not exactly is not the same as everyone else. And some of the users, all they really need is products. They do not need the processing of the imagery, they just need to get to the products. So the value chain, we really need to look at where the users in the value chain actually fit. The institutional development, we forget the institutions, that there's the people, but then there's also the institutions as a whole that needs to be looked at. Limited funding, prioritizations, and resources related to Earth observation was one. The data sharing principles start coming into place when we're talking at institutional level. The gaps between Earth observation as a research and Earth observation operations and applications. I think there was a presentation this morning that looked at ICT for an EO for water, and it was actually talking on these things, knowing whether you're looking at the research or you're looking at operations. And most of the time, we tend to think if the research has been done, then everyone knows how to do it, and actually we're doing it, but it's the research, we're not doing it. I attended, for part of the dissemination for this project, a WaterNet symposium last year, and it was held in Mozambique. And this is mainly it's targeted at young researchers. And they're doing very, very good work. But I listen and people say, we're doing it and we know it. That's been done, we know it. And you say, but did your farmer test that? So you've done the rainfall prediction model for farmers. So have the farmers tested it? No. Do they come and use the system that you've developed? No. But we're selling it as that it's been done and it's there. So bridging this gap is really something that we really need to look at. As I said, I'm highlighting just the bottlenecks in this presentation. I do think that the opportunities and the things that really work have been highlighted in this conference. So I mentioned that we've got this capacity building strategy, and there's a website where you can actually download the strategy for review. One of the best tools we found in terms of engaging for the brokerage exercise was that we need to have success stories in hand when you're going to, whether you're going to a decision maker, you're going to funders. If you want to engage with someone who's not the practitioner in your level, which was the whole idea here, you need to have something in hand that you can show to them and actually they would understand. So we selected success stories throughout the various regions, and these are coming from either data-related success stories, in water, in disasters. All the 9 societal benefit areas of GEO have 2 or 3 success stories that have been picked up, and all of that information is available on our website. One of the success stories that we picked up for South Africa was the Part2of2 multi-user license, which I think we heard yesterday that it came. The license was signed and the data started being available in 2007. I think, 2006 and 2007. Amazingly, in the room that I was at, most of us did not know that Part2 has been free for that long. You know, because we thought it was just a new thing. But it has been free on that long. And it is a success story in the sense that here you had a number of government departments coming together and putting money on the table to make data available for free. So when we look at the success stories, we look at the sustainability of the project, in this case, and the feasibility, the replication potential of the project, because can it be taken and applied easily somewhere else, and then the societal benefit. In this one, sustainability and feasibility, the fact that all these government departments came together and agreed and put the money on the table, it means that it's sustainable because the chances of all of them pulling out is very slim unless the project was a failure, which then we do want. And in this case, it wasn't. The license was renewed, and now SANSA has taken over the licensing. So we still got the Part2 in the country. In terms of the societal benefits, so those are just the breakdown of the users, of people who've requested sport. In terms of the benefits, I've picked just one, and the SANSA CEO yesterday mentioned the one data set for many users. Here, the Part2 imagery, Eskom got the imagery, and they started the sport building count project. This was intended for Eskom. It worked for Eskom, and then the next thing we'd find that SENBI is using the same data set. The square kilometer array is using the same data set. DWA is using the same data set. The Department of Human Settlement is using the same data sets, all for different applications. And it all started with sport imagery being free because a group of people decided to put money together to get it. There's marketing toolkits also available. These include information on the international trends and developments in the geosocietal benefit areas. We've put information in terms of promotion of the applications in these areas, how to get funding for if you're doing Earth observation related work in these areas, and general capacity building material for these. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a capacity building website, and there's data or links to people who provide free to low cost data and software. There's tutorials and reference training material and general references in terms of Earth observation. And that's my last slide.